the Acoustic Cafe, featuring folk and acoustic musicians from around the country, and with your host, Brad Paul. Today we bring you part of a special series from Concord, Massachusetts at Walden 1120 Radio, who was celebrating their first anniversary with an open-air concert. One of the performers was Rory Block. And now from the summer of 1990 in Concord, Massachusetts, here then is Rory Block.
Can't heat mama low, says you're killing me. Crying deep to my soul, Lord, can't keep you me. Ooh, Lord, I said, leave to my soul, Lord, that they can't hear you killing me. Oh yeah. Lord, woke up this morning now, crying can't hear round my brain. Woke up this morning without can't keep round my brain. Oh yeah. I said, woke up this morning, Lord, with a can't heat around my brain. Crying, Lord, I wonder will I ever get back home. Crying, Lord, I wonder back home. Ooh, Lord, I said, Lord, I wanna get back home. Lord, I wonder will I ever get back home. Crying, Lord, I'm going to help get back home. Ooh, Lord, I said, Lord, I want to get back home.
Hi, I'm Brad Paul, and welcome to the Acoustic Cafe. This program is part of a special series we are bringing you from Walden 1120. It's an AM radio station in Concord, Massachusetts, and today is their annual outdoor free concert, and one of the performers is Rory Block. Hi, Rory.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. Great.
Well, we're glad you're able to take time out of this wonderful day and come into the studio here and say hi.
And it is a gorgeous day. Isn't it about as perfect as it could be?
I couldn't ask for any better weather.
Fabulous.
And better performers. So you just got off the road, in fact, only 3 weeks ago. I saw you out on the West Coast at the Great Strawberry Music Festival.
Yeah, that was great. Before that we were in Europe, so it's all like a big blur of touring. That, I mean, I'm not really ever off the road, I don't think.
Now, I know you're one of these performers that really doesn't like flying a whole lot.
No,
so
I hate it.
That means you end up driving some pretty long distances in between gigs. Does that give you time to make career decisions, write songs, sort of focus a little bit?
Yeah.
All those hours behind the wheel?
Well, of course, I fly to go to Europe, and I go to Europe all the time, so I'm not a complete sissy. I'm able to actually get on an airplane, and I do it many times, and more times than I'd like, and it gets easier every time. But it is true that when I'm touring, I write almost all my music when I'm touring, because there are those long hours where, you know, I don't have to, like, do the laundry or do something that I would find obsessional at home, like paint another room of the house or stencil something. You know, and I actually spend a lot of time writing songs as a result of that. And it's probably it's definitely my most prolific time is on the road, either in a hotel room or with a few hours off sitting on a hillside somewhere, but that's when I write my music.
Now, your style of acoustic blues-based guitar and singing has often been compared to performers like Bonnie Raitt, and she's seeing a really probably her best year in her career. Do you sense that as a good sign for you, and are you looking to maybe follow in some of those footsteps, or do you don't really pay much attention to what's going on?
No, I do. You know, I really feel like the renaissance for blues music and acoustic music has been as a result of many people's efforts. Say John Hammond, for instance, Bonnie Raitt, so many others, I can't even think of them all. People like Paul Jeremiah, people who are out there playing either blues, and specifically, as far as I'm concerned, I've seen a major resurgence in blues. And I've been saying, one time about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, I said to myself, I'm tired of hearing that blues isn't commercial. I'm going to start saying and believing that it is, and I'm going to be single-handedly, I'm going to be part of a process where it becomes commercial. And I really feel like I've seen that dream come true. And when Bonnie Raitt won the Grammys, it was like, okay, it's happened.
Yeah.
And when the Grammys...
And she made that comment accepting it. Says, this proves that rhythm and blues is here to stay.
Yeah. And also victories like seeing Grammy division added to, blues added to the Grammys. I mean, just that alone. I mean, B.B. King a couple years ago.
And then traditional and contemporary, so now you have 2 categories.
Right.
So you don't have somebody like, I'll say Robert Cray competing against somebody like, you know, John Lee Hooker or something like that.
And then also there's the other side of my career, which isn't blues, but it's sort of acoustically based anyway. So I think that because of the hard work of many people, including people, of course, like Bonnie Raitt and people who are here today, and myself and many others, because of that, and because of the audiences, you can't leave them out, and because of people like you, and because of people like Dick Pleasance, that there's this major resurgence in acoustic music and acoustic-related music. You can't say, for instance, that Suzanne Vega is acoustic music anymore, or that a lot of other people are really acoustic music in terms of raw acoustic music. But we're seeing a resurgence in what I would say is tasteful music. Now, there's tasteful music in pop too. I'm not a snob, believe me. I like pop music too. I love it.
Well, there's that old adage that there's only 2 kinds of music, good and bad.
Well, no, there's in-between stuff, but I think there's great stuff on pop radio. I mean, Stevie Winwood and Bruce Hornsby, and there's a lot of great stuff.
A lot of songwriters seem to be coming up through the ranks and being quite successful. John Hyatt is a good example of that. Are you writing a lot more of your own material, and is your next project going to be a lot of Rory Bloch songs, or are you going to kind of do what you've done in the past and balance, a nice balance of traditional and original material?
You know, it's a funny thing with me. I never know until I get into the studio, because all my albums are like off the cuff. If people were to ask me ahead of time for a song list, I couldn't give it to them. And I'm sure record companies find that nerve-wracking, but...
She's not playing the title track to her new album.
Exactly. So, of course, the thing that got me the success in Europe, the gold record in Europe, was the original songs.
Now, let's just back up a second here, and let's talk about a gold record in Europe. I mean, that's pretty significant. How did that come about?
Very significant. Well, in the United States, we had released the song called Love and Whiskey on one of the albums, but it was never released as a single, but it did get massive response, and still to this day, when I do that song, audiences will either applaud or people will come up and, you know, there's always reaction and people know that song. And I was told many times, well, that could be a hit song or whatever, but I said, well, it won't be released as a single right now, so. But in Europe, it got released as a single, and it went right to number 17, and it stayed there for 12 or 13 weeks.
Wow.
And then Gypsy Boy was a follow-up single that did real well in Boston. And so those, the original songs are what brought me the mainstream attention in Europe, but the blues was readily accepted and loved as well, so the Best Blues and Originals is the gold record.
For blues and more roots-styled music in Europe, it seems.
But it's also getting great here. That's the good news, is people say, well, do Europeans love acoustic music more than Americans? And I say, well, not really. They love it everywhere. I mean, honestly, to me, they love it everywhere I go. And that's what I'm seeing. That's what you're seeing here today, is this great, you know, great regard for acoustic music. So to answer your other question, the original stuff is the direction that I feel like going in terms of the major direction of my career, and that is getting the most, I think, success overall. But on the other hand, I don't want to abandon blues. So we're talking about making a blues album, a nice traditional blues album in the meanwhile.
Well, we're going to look forward to hearing that record when it comes out and more immediately seeing you perform today.
Oh, good. Well, today I'm only going to do original stuff.
All right.
I'm going to foil the crowd.
Well, thanks for coming by.
My pleasure.
As always, a pleasure.
Okay.
We'll be back with more of Rory Block on the Acoustic Cafe right after this.
Hiring a worker with a disability can be a challenge, but smart managers find ways. As simple as unstacking file cabinets or changing the telephone, employers can get ideas like this from the Job Accommodation Network. Dial them. Even the call is free.
For 200 years, lighthouses have protected our shores, guided our ships, saved our lives, and inspired our poets, authors, songwriters, and artists. Help us celebrate and preserve 200 years of lighthouse heritage by contacting the Lighthouse Preservation Society, Box 736, Rockport, Massachusetts, 01966, and help us keep the lights shining.
Please put your hands together and give a warm welcome, a Walden 1120 welcome for Ms. Rory Block.
Hey, Daddy won't treat me right. Hey, low ho, Daddy won't treat me right. Hey, low, when I pack my bags, I'm leaving here tonight. When I cried last night, baby, and the night before. When I cried last night, baby, and the night before. Said I'm gone, I won't see you no more. Hey, can't you hear that lonesome whistle blow? Hey, can't you hear that lonesome whistle blow? Go ride the train as far as I can go. Oh. Ooh, low. Go round the world to soothe my aching heart. Go round the world to soothe my aching heart. Tell all my friends goodbye before I start. When I'm gone, sorry but I can't take you. When I'm gone, sorry but I can't take you. Said I just can't stand the load on where you do. Oh, Daddy. Thank you very much. This is a song that I wrote. It's called Love and Whiskey. Thank you. Well, if you live in dusty twilight, baby, that's okay. 'Cause there are women at the bar to greet you every day. And you can take them back to lie with you and visit Jamie's room, but they can never take the pain away or brighten all the gloom. And if your hands are clenched in sorrow, may it help you ease your pain. Though the windows have a view of city rain, city rain. Well, if you walk in constant sorrow and you cry for me, and if you're hit with painful memories, maybe then you'll see that if you drown yourself in liquor because it keeps you company, then just remember who you're losing and be proud to set me free. Because it don't talk back or disagree, it just makes you see so hazily. But in the morning light your life is scattered with the wind, scattered with the wind. Well, they tell you on the telephone to let him go. I said, they tell you he's a sinking ship and he's trying to pull you down. Don't you know? But every time you call me up and say you want me back, you know you break my heart. I said, you want me to come back home and try again. You want me to make a brand new start. Well, if wisdom says to let him go, oh, that it's hell, because you just don't know till you try to love a man who's loving whiskey, loving whiskey. My baby left me for the bottle and the lure of the nightlife. Good times and crazy women and another glass of Tanqueray. Well, if wisdom says to let him go, oh, that it's hell, because you just don't know till you try to love a man who's loving whiskey, loving whiskey. Two houses were born in a very different time, and I saw one from above, and I circled in a cloud, and I was flying in a cloud, and I had white porches, small windows. It had a wild front yard. It had a wild front yard, and I was flying, trying not to fall too hard, and I was flying, trying not to fall down too far, but my faith can pull me up on silver wings, silver wings, oh yeah. I heard a voice, it was Wendy saying, she said a soul wants to be born. She said you will be its mother, yeah. You know you are its chosen one. I was nursing a baby, he was my own little child. And then he looked at me so wild, and he had laughter in his eyes, but I was crying. I didn't want to fall down, and I was crying, trying not to fall down too far, but my faith can pull me up on silver wings, silver wings, oh yeah. I had a friend, she was wise and patient. She had raven black hair, and her eyes were morning blue. You know she always spoke the truth, and she rode white horses that she raised on a farm. And many birds were singing, and there were birds everywhere, and she was flying. She didn't want to fall down, and she was flying. She didn't want to fall down, but her faith couldn't pull her up on silver wings, silver wings, oh yeah. And I was flying, I didn't want to fall down, and I was flying, trying not to fall down too far, but my faith can pull me up on silver wings, silver wings, oh yeah. Silver wings, oh silver wings, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Thank you very much. This is a song from my Turning Point album. This is a song that I wrote only immediately after the incident happened. It's not about a beautiful subject, it's about a painful subject. It's about domestic violence. And I got inspired to write this song because of an incident that occurred in the hotel room next door to me in a hotel in Northern California. And as we drove away, I wrote this song in the car. The song is called All Is One. Yesterday I saw a woman who was standing in the door, and she looked like she was 20. She was tall with long black hair, and her face was almost vacant, but with a longing in her eyes. And she stared at me directly, and it made me wonder why. Made me wonder why. Come with me and you will see things that will make you cry, that will make you cry. Take my hand and walk with me. We are as one. You know we all are one. Yes, we are. We all are one. It was later in the evening that a noisy fight began. There was the crying of a woman and the yelling of a man, shouting angry words of hatred as he struck her with his hand. And she pleaded for his mercy, but he failed to understand. Hey, yeah. Come with me and you will see things that will make you cry, that will make you cry. Heal the sick and raise the dead. My soul can fly. You know my soul can fly. Fly out over houses and fields, and I can see clearly in the blackest night. God save this beaten woman who had fallen to her knees, and to all the others like her who are ill with this disease. Well, I still can hear her moaning, I just want my husband back. And I understood that somehow she believed it was her fault. Hey, yeah. She thought it was something she did. Well, I'd like to make her leave him, but I know I probably can't. And to all the beaten women who have got to take a stand, we must not forget them. We are all as one. I ever hide our eyes, for I too have been one. I have been one. Come with me and you will see things that will make you cry, that will make you cry. Take my hand and walk with me. We are as one. You know we all are one. Yes, we are. I said we all are one. Thank you very much. Thank you. This song is called Turning Point, and it's the title song of the Turning Point album. It's a song about hope, actually. I wrote this song when I thought that the 1990s would be the great peace decade of all times, and of course now we find that we may not have peace at the moment, but I still think that this decade is an enlightened decade. I still think that the world is moving towards a better situation, towards more understanding, towards more enlightenment. There's gonna be a change. Hey, yeah. All right, there's gonna be a change. Oh, yeah. There's a storm cloud blowing, and it's darkened all the hills. City driving rain is coming. You can feel it in the air. Said the wind will bend the treetops, and the waters will wash across the world.
Said the tides will change direction, and it's pulling, yes, it's pulling on us all. Gonna be a turning point in this world. Gonna be a turning point so soon. Gonna be a million eyes to see it come. Turning, turning in this world. Turning in this world, baby. Said there's gonna be a change, alright. It's the hour of decision. Said the time has finally come. All the grains of sand have fallen, and there's nowhere left to run. Are we headed for extinction, or can this precious earth be saved? Will we sail into clear waters, or will we flounder in the waves? Gonna be a turning point in this world. Gonna be a turning point so soon. Gonna be a million eyes to see it come. Turning, turning in this world. Turning in this world, baby. So there's gonna be a change. Open up the window, unlock your door. Do not shield your eyes from the suffering in the world. Say there's so much truth and wisdom for the deaf, dumb, and blind to see. How can we keep deceiving when we're holding every key? Gonna be a turning point in this world. Gonna be a turning point so soon. Gonna be a million eyes to see it come. Turning, turning in this world. Turning in this world, baby. Gonna be a turning point in this world. Gonna be a turning point so soon. Gonna be a million eyes to see it come. Turning, turning in this world. Turning in this world, babe. See, how can we keep deceiving when we're holding every key? Gonna be a turning point in this world. Gonna be a turning point so soon. Gonna be a million eyes to see it come. Turning, turning in this world. Turning in this world, baby. Gonna be a turning point in this world. Gonna be a turning point so soon. Gonna be a million eyes to see it come. Turning, turning in this world. Turning in this world, babe.